All right. EDEXPRESS 2017-2018 release 1.0 desk reference. Express system setup. You set up the AP Express system setup options that will be used for the import record select tools. Set up for the menu bar. Choose the App Express system. Clear the update demographic data. Check if you do not want the EDEXPRESS to update demographic records when you import institutional student information records. EDEXPRESS automatically updates the fields on the student demographic record demo tab when you import a higher transaction than one currently in the EDEXPRESS database. Leave the updated demographic data. Check the box selected if you want the EDEXPRESS to update the fields on the student's demo tab when you import the institution student information record. Demographic fields are updated only when higher transaction number is reported. Only under the no circumstances should you allow the EDEXPRESS to update demographic data. Select the comparable demographic data checkbox if you want EDEXPRESS to print the list of the changes made to demographic records during the institutional student information records and process as part of the import records edit report. Click OK and click Yes to save. All right, this is where we actually left off. Importing and printing institutional student information records. Importing data into the into EDEXPRESS. The 3 business days of entering the FAFSA applications data and the institution student information records correction on the FAA access to the central processing system online website. The corresponding with the institutional student information records are available for you to retrieve from the Student Aid Internet Gateway mailbox. See educational help for this or the Student Aid Internet Gateway desk. The reference of the ED Connect with the U.S. Department of Education Federal Student Aid Download or FSA Download website located with the fsadownload.ed.gov. You must import the data of EDEXPRESS to view the institutional student information records of EDEXPRESS. To import the institutional student information records into the EDEXPRESS, select the file port in menu bar, then choose the Add Express. Confirm the institutional student information record data appears in the import type field. If this does not, click down arrow, select the institutional student information record data. Click the file button on the import for the selection of the section of the screen. Select the file you want to import, click OK, then choose where you want to send the report file printer screen. If you choose a file or click the file button to type the name of the file, then click Save. Click OK to import the file. Progress appears when the Progress dialog box. Click OK to close the Progress dialog box when the important is finished. An import is created with the batch records at the time that you import the file. The identifier is 14 characters long in the format that is months, years, CC, the date, the year of the month, the date and the time, the start of the import. And the first example is 2017-016-61. 00000 would be import the ID file imported on January 6, 2000 at 12 o'clock noon. You can also use the identifier to print all the student records in the individual file. The imported created when you import the institutional student information record file is printed by the import records edit report. If you made a request for the institutional student information record from the institutional student information record data mart on the FAA access to the central processing station online using the query title up to 50 characters is printed with the institutional student information record import records edit report when you are importing the file. Important notes: when you import the institutional student information record, select the identify the activated transaction. Check the box in EFC. The activity of the transaction of the EFC incoming of the institutional student information record appear with the import records edit report. If the transaction number on the import file is greater than or equal to the transaction number of the database, the EFC read different. Institutional student information record data import types are listed under one category: institutional student information record. Data in the import type box. When you import institutional student information record, select the identifying income of the institutional student information record with the existing packages DL, Pell, or TATES grant record. Check the import records ed report display that has a has flag packing direct loan and packaging direct loan and Pell if the record exists for the modules for the student. When the assumption has been made that on an institutional student information record the notation is displayed in the institutional student information review. Tab alerting you of the assumption and referring to the list change of the dialog box where you can review the assumed values and the values of the institution student information reviews. The view of the values is like the process list change for the menu bar. Alright, printing institutional student information records. If you print the single or multiple institution student information records on a listed process institutional student information record report after you have imported the institutional student information records into the EDEXPRESS, a printed institutional student information record includes the application information submitted with the student and computed results from the central processing station. Alright, print the single institution student information record, select the file print from the menu bar, choose the app express, confirm the institutional student information record, appears with the report type, select the regional report option if not already selected, check and close where to send the report file print screen. If you want to send the report to a file, click the file button, type the name of the file, and then click open. If you choose the file, the output destination, no paper copy is printed. The printing of a paper copy look in the file using the texting editing programs such as Windows Notepad printing it. If you choose the screen on your own output destination, no paper copy is printed, but use the scroll balls to view the report. Click close when you're finished to print the paper copy. Click the print button to print the screen to the type. Type the student's social security number, first two letters of the last name, and transaction number 0102 in the train query field. Click the ellipse button and select the institution student information record what you want to print from a list of institution student information records. Alright, the required school field default to federal school code you define as the assumed school setup. Tool setup global school. If you serve the receive the same institution student information record transaction multiple federal school codes. Your service, you can click the ellipse button and select different federal school code. Print with the institutional student information record with the printing from the student record with the selection list of limited to federal school code sent with the institution student information record to transaction. You are printing if you are printing outside the school student record selection list display a federal school code imported with all the institution student information records. However, the EDEXPRESS is only prints the institution student information record of the selected federal school code of the listed version of the transaction you imported. EDEXPRESS allows only the federal school to be printed on each copy of the institution student information record selected code. Is also printed in the school number 1 position institution student information record. Select the clear filing option. Only print the records from more than 6 loans. Print the certification signature pen. Print the FAA comments. Print the SAR comments and print the loaning information. Click OK to print multiple institution information records. Select file print with the menu bar. Choose the app and express confirming the institution information record appears in the report tiles. Select multiple report options, not already selected. Choose where to send the report filter printer and screen. If you choose to print the file with the file button, type the name of the file, then click OK. If you have several options, you're choosing the institution student information record with the print. Click OK to print the institution student information record. Add Express database. Click the selection button. The select editors buttons. If you choose the specific institution information record to print, the use of the social security number. Click the ellipse button with the social security number. File selection dialog box. Click the help the information with creating the social security number files. Use the query selection. Students click the selection criteria. Bottom of the click ellipse and bottom of the query. The title is select the query. Use the ID import print to the student with the particular file with the import into the import ID file. Click the ellipse button to select the import ID file from the list. Click the down arrow for the set order field for the select the social security number or last name order. If you choose the last name record if it's ordered in last name, first name, then transaction number, the default option is in social security number order. If you have transaction preference, click down an arrow under the transaction preferences. The highest active in all the prints transaction, higher transaction activity, transaction, all transaction, respectively. There is no transaction activity. The default is highest transaction. The school code field default federal school code is defined as assumed school and school setup. The tool setup global in school. If your service is received the student in the same institution student information record, the transaction multiple federal school codes. On the service you to click the ellipse button to select the different federal school code to print the institutional student information record. As printing with the individual institution student information record, the EDEXPRESS allows one of the federal schools to be printed on each of the copy of the institution student information record. Selected code always printed with the school and one position of the institution student information record. EDEXPRESS only the prints of the institution student record federal schools selected and present with the transaction. Select the clear filing options. Only print the records for more than 6 loans. Print the certification signature and print the FAA comments. Print the SRA comments. Print the loan information. Click OK. Important note, the email address that is printed on the institution student information record is labeled email address 1 with the demo tab, but is printed with the institution student information record of the email address. Alright, to print the last process institution student information report, select the file, print for the menu bar with the App Express tab. At the down arrow to the report box, select the list of the process institution information records. Click the print file screen for the output destination. If you want to send the report file, click the file button, type the name of the file, and click open, then choose the file at the output destination. No paper copy is printed to the paper copy located with the file. Open it in the next test using the text editing program such as Windows, Notepad, or print it. You chose the screen with your output destination. No paper copy is printed. Use the scroll bars to view the report. Click OK when you finish. To print the paper copy, click the print button to the print from the screen. Optional, click down the arrow to sort order to specify the order in which you want institutional student information data. To print, optional, click the down arrow to the next transaction preference of the specific institution student information record transaction you want to include on the report. Alright, optional. Click the ellipse button to the right of the import ID to select the import ID associated with the institution student information records you want to include on the report. Optional, select and deselect any of the options appropriate. 9, optional, click the selection criteria button if you want to use the specific selection criteria to narrow the number of records you want to include on the report. Click OK to send the list of output and destination you choose. Okay, add Express to the FISPA reports. Printing the FISPA reports in the Express. You can print FISPA depending on the student summary, the FISPA independent student summary, the FISPA eligibility independent study, the FISPA eligibility independent student for the reports from the Add Express module in the packaging mode. The flexibility enables the EDEXPRESS packaging, non-packaging users to take advantage of these reports to help prepare the student record for inclusion. An EDEXPRESS version of the FISPA reports must be updated with the enrollment status of the field for the demo tab. You can also do this manually on the tab using global multiple entry with the imported external demographics data. When generating the App Express FISPA report, the EDEXPRESS uses the enrollment status field, the value from the demo tab of the combination within the FISPA related data for the institution student information record flagged as an active transaction on the institution information record review tab. To ensure accuracy of the EDEXPRESS FISPA reports, you can print in the App Express module, prepare your student record in advance, verifying the enrollment status of the values of the demo tab of the active transaction value selected by the institution information record review tab are current and accurate, that you have imported all the 2017-2018 institution student information record data. To prepare your data and print the FISPA reports using the EDEXPRESS module, import the 2017-2018 institution student information record files that you have received with the central processing station. The institution student information record transaction, identify the active transaction on the institution's student information record. Retrieve the tab used for the EDEXPRESS Express for the FISPA related information and for the reports, such as total income. Remove the demographic of the demo tab of the records for all the students in the database. When verify the enrollment status values, delete the records of students who do not attend the year's school. Print the student summary file. File print global to multiple students from the query attached that identifies the record of the blank enrollment status field value. Access the student records that are printed on the port and either update the missing value and delete the record. See, verify enrollment status values of accurate remaining students in your database. You need to consult the internal roster and information. Use global multiple entry, process multiple entry global to review the update of the the enrollment status with multiple students and records at once if needed. To remove the institution student information review record selected with the active transaction of the student on the institution student information record review tab. Alright, the active transaction field of the institution student information review tab defaults to the highest valid institution student information record transaction you have imported to the student. Review the current active transaction, select the institution student information record, your database, print the listed process institution student information record report. File print app express print. Before printing the report, select activate the transaction preference. Fill in the print dialog box to modify the active transaction. Select the institution student information review record review tab for the student. Change for the transaction number listed for the active transaction display field with the institution student information record. Transaction you want to base the FISPA report calculation on the click of the process. Active transaction can actively reject the institution student information record transaction. Print the FISPA reports after you have completed the steps above the file and print from the menu bar and select the App Express tab. Click down on the report box of the FISPA eligible documents and the FISPA eligibility information independent studies. FISPA dependent summary, the FISPA independent summary, student summary. Select single of the report only for the not already selected. Choose when your study report file printer screen. If you want to send the report to the file, click the file button, type the name of the file, and click open. If you choose file output destination, no paper, the copy is printed. The print and paper copy located with the file. Will open the text editing program with the Windows Notepad. Print it. And if you choose the screen output destination, no paper copy is printed with the scroll bars to the view the port and click close. When you are finished to print the paper copy, click the print button to the print the screen. Optional, select the print details. Check if you want to report the display each for the student's ID for the income category. 9. Click OK. 10. Repeat 4 through 9 as needed to print each for the FISPA reports. Alright, you can also exist a packaging version of FISPA reports. You must also first establish a packaging setup with import within all valid institution student information records. Data into packaging. See the print with the FISPA reports into the packaging section later of the DEX reference and the guidance on using the FISPA reports in the packaging module. The FISPA eligible dependent student record students and FISPA eligible independent student reports can help prepare the Part 2 Section F, Part 2, Section F, FISPA report. The FISPA dependent student with a summary. The FISPA independent the student reports can help prepare the incoming grid section of the program summary of Part 6 portion of the FISPA. Exporting external demographics institution student information record data. External demographic data exports. EDEXPRESS enables you to export demographic data in an external system. You can create the global file formats to include any of the fields in the student demographic records, including the student's email address. File formats limited to the maximum of 225 fields. To export the external demographic data, choose any of the records that are open. Select the file and export the menu bar with the global. Confirm the external demographic data that appears in the export type of the field with the default with the path to file name appearing in the export field. If you want to export the different file names, click the file button, type the name of the then file, then click save. Select the limiter type the format code with the format code field. Click the ellipse button to select the list of the format codes. Click selection criteria to narrow the group of the records you export when you are finished. And OK, that was optional. Click the OK with the export data. EDEXPRESS exports the final file directory shown in the export field to the any progress dialog box appears. Click OK to close the progress dialog box when an export is finished. Important note. To use external export form feature for the global, you must establish a file format. See the topic of the file formats. EDEXPRESS help you more information. External institution student information report. EDEXPRESS enables you to export institution student information record data to an external system. To export external institution student information record data, close any of the records that are open. Select File Export with the menu bar. Choose the App Express. Confirm the external institution student information record appear for the external type of the field. Then the default path of the file name will appear. Export to the field you want to export the different file names. Click the file button. Type of the name and then file. Click Save. Select the transaction presence. Select the delimiter type. Type the format code with the format code field and click the ellipse button to select the list of format codes. Optional, select criteria narrow the group of the records you want to export. When you are finished, click OK. Click OK to export the data EDEXPRESS on the file directory shown in the export field. Any of the progress dialog and in progress dialog box appears. Click OK in the in progress dialog box for the export the field. Import note: to use the external export feature, the EDEXPRESS must establish file format. See the topic of the file formats. The EDEXPRESS help for more information. Introduction to packaging. What is packaging? Financial aid packaging is a process of tracking, awarding, managing financial aid funds, and a resource. The EDEXPRESS packaging uses the term award methodology. The award methodology is a formula that determines how financial aids are allocated to your students. Within the EDEXPRESS packages process, automatically applies your school award methodologies that you set up in the software to one of your all of your students. Students are packaged and awarded with the aids, the source of the amounts specified with the award methodology, the criteria attached to them, section of the depth of reference you thought through packaging process set up through the exporting data recommended with the review checklist provided with the beginning of the packaging section. For compliance with Section 508 of the Rehabilitation Act, all required fields are highlighted in the yellow displayed with an R at the end of the field. Field turns the term blue with the value is changed to display to C at the end of the field and when changed to save. For compliance with the Section 508 Rehabilitation Act, grid displays the floating text description of the content grid cell. The text appears with the one cell above the one cell below. For the cell in the first line, grid selected cell with the text net row number, the column type, and if applicable, the current value. With click once for the cell using the tab key with the arrow keys to move to the cell, display text, and click the second time hides text. The first time you log in, the default user ID and password is system administrator. The system then prompts you to default the password, entering the new password, verifying the floating text is also enabled the system administrator user ID. The also ways appears startup information dialog box. Disassemble the floating text of the tool, set up the security user. From the menu bar, create the new user ID, password, exit the forward software, then log in with the your new user ID and password. For all users other than the system administrator, the floating text is disabled by default. To enable it, select the Enable 508 grad function checkbox in the security user dialog box. You can open the student records directly from the EDEXPRESS toolbar. If it's original and current with the Social Security number, click Open. Select the student original Social Security number, current Social Security number, clicking the ellipse button, clicking Open. Clicking the institution student information record to the pick of the institution student information record with the list of clicking open. You can also select a file open with the menu bar, pressing Control O to initiate the opening of the record, entering the action, placing the cursor original Social Security number field in the toolbar. If you have a student record open, you can open another by entering and selecting the student Social Security number, institution student information record from the toolbar. The first record closes automatically, prompts you to save the changes. The next student record opens in the same module and tab as the previous record. Select Open to open the existing record after entering the student's current Social Security number, original Social Security number, the toolbar. After clicking the institution student information record button, select the student list from a list of student institution student information records. Alright, packaging setup. Packaging setup checklist. The following steps below are an EDEXPRESS packaging module key to successful packaging. The EDEXPRESS is planned to define school guidelines thoroughly. Plan priority order budget costs codes award methodology codes. Create queries for the budget costs and budget codes, maintenance codes, and award methodology codes. Set up the system values. Establish academic year profile. Enter food fund maintenance information. Define award methodologies. Establish budget optional. Define SAP values. Set up the user defined database. Set up the user database section. Database reference more information that was optional. Optional. Set up the user defined formulas. Optional. Write user defined text. Create user-defined user letter text, create the user-defined award letter text, and create user-defined document tracking letter text in the desk reference for more information. Important notes: you have not established assumed school for the global system setup. You must do so before using the packaging module. You can save time by importing much of the packaging setup of the EDEXPRESS 2016-2017. See prior year import for the desk reference for additional information. If you're using packaging model only to prepare the FISPA eligible dependent student with the FISPA eligible independent with the student report, so you only have to set up the academic year profile of the budget before the institutional student information records into packaging, referring to the EDEXPRESS help at the topic of the setup of the packaging to print the FISPA reports of other detailed setup instruction. Complete all the query setup for the packaging and the any of the records. Assigning priorities of the packaging function. The two packaging elements of award methodology budgets and according to the priority established. Priority determines the order of the EDEXPRESS, evaluates the packaging elements while making the assignments starting the element. The priority closest to the one packaging module compared to the critical assignment of the element. The student record being processed, the record maintains the grid and criteria for the element is assigned to the record. No further elements of the type of to be considered. The record does not meet the criteria. The EDEXPRESS goes into the element of the next highest priority. The priority is establish highest to lowest 1 through 99 and A to Z to Z to Z. Examples: the code 30 priority 3 dependent status I, 20 2 dependent status D, code 15 priority 1 dependent status D, and housing 2. A dependent student who reports on housing plan 3 would not meet the criteria for the code 15. However, the student meets the next criteria for the assigned code 20. An important note: the element in most restrictive criteria shall have the priority closest to the one, so that it is assessed with assigned value first. The last priority with the student has no selection, so will include the student who has records of missing elements considered critical by its selection criteria. You may want to number the priorities in increments 5 to 10, with giving yourself more flexibility in the future, adding subsequent priorities between the previously created with the priorities. For example, the establishing 5, 10, and 15, you can easily add priority 13 for the process between 10 and 15. All right, packaging system setup. The setup of the packaging values, the tool setup for the menu bar is choosing the package system. Enter the following values: the total number of the awarded letters and printed per student. These fields the number of the copies of award letters printed with each for the student. Each time the award letters are printed, the maximum number of the award letters to be sent in per student. Fields defines the number of times an award letter can be printed for the individual student when printing the letter for the multiple students. Award letter type. The field defines the award letter type if you want to print. The O for the office letter, N for the notification letter. Always import the PEL EFC to be modified. The PEL defines the PEL EFC with the protected field for the record for the not manually entered. Select the checkbox if you want to enter the PEL EFC field to modify after the institution student information record. Importing and packaging. Packaging result default status. The field defines the packaging result default status on the student record after packaging the T default options of offer and accepted. O is for offer. A for accepted. Priority deadline date. These fields define the date you want to use the priority deadline for the index packaging process and report validate priority date types as A, application receive date, P, process date, R, ready date, and U, user date defined. The user defined date. If the date is U, the date is often taken from the user database field. Alright, user-defined date name. The field defines the name of the U.S. database to be used to determine whether the student records include the exclude and report running process. If enabled only for in the priority deadline for the type the U for user-defined date. Use the low tuition. Use low tuition. The field enables you to access the low tuition tables for the using any packaging students who qualify. Default housing plan. The field determines the default value manually created with the import of the institution student information record. The blank value in the housing plan is valid housing plan options. 1 on campus, 2 with parent, 3 off campus. Click OK and continue. Click with yes to save. Establish academic year profiles. Academic year profiles determine how your funds are divided. Academic year profiles enable you to customize your 5 terms, including distribution percentage with the 7 types of awards you can create with an unlimited number of academic year profiles. The academic year profiles gather information from the federal Pell Grant formula, standard of the time, standard term, clock hours, and distribution percentage of the aid programs. To establish academic year profiles, select the tool setup of the menu bar with the choose the packaging academic year profile. If in the first time academic year profile, go to step 3 to add more academic year profiles. Click add, enter the confirming the following values. Code. The code is the 4-character code you assign to identify each of the academic year profile. Default the field and enables you to define the standard academic year profile with all the records important from the institutional student information record database. Each school has only one default profile. However, the profile is not assigned with any of the students who change this field at any time. User modified. User ID person was last modified academic year profile. Data modified. The date of the academic profile was last modified. Title. The title is 50-character description of the academic year profile you have established. Pell Grant formula. The field is based on the school definition of the academic year. Click down arrow to view the list of the valid Pell formula. Standard term credit hour programs 30 weeks. For standard term credit hour programs less than 30 weeks. Any term based on the credit hour programs. Clock hour programs, credit hour programs without terms, correspondence study, non-term based program, correspondence study, term-based program, proration percent. The field specifies the percentage of the student program to be completed with the academic year and applies only to student term and credit hour programs of less than 30 weeks, clock hours and credit hours without terms, and correspondence studies and non-term based programs. Alright, your EFC program link is important from the institution student information record database. The field sets the EFC program length derived from the imported by the institution student information records. term. This field identifies the specific term that you designate. For example, the fall, spring, term 1, term 2, etc. The enrollment status. The field indicates the enrollment status package for each of the term you define. For example, the full-time, etc. Percentage of the full-time defines the package for the annual award post the given term for each of the 7 8 types. For example, the 50% of the Pat Perkins percent of the first term. If you want 50% of the annual Perkins amount of award in the first term, percentage cannot exceed 100%. Click OK and click Yes to save. Enter fund maintenance information. Fund maintenance, you can add and maintain many of the aided sources needed for the packaging, student funding of the maintenance, also provided with the instant form information of the total forms of awarded for the year financial recipient. Select the tool setup with the menu bar to choose the packaging fund maintenance. If this is your first time adding a fund, go to step 3 below for the more information for more than funds. More forms, click add, enter the confirm the following values. Alright, user modify the user ID with the person who last modified the fund. Date, modify the date the fund was last modified. Fund code, the code, abbreviated identification code up to 8 characters. You sign to identify the fund. Fund description, full description of up to 45 characters of the fund you have established. Aid type, the type of the identifier, the type of the aid associated with the fund. Click down the arrow as a list of the valid aid types. All aid types D, E, F, and K, and P, and S, W, and U can be used only once after which they are no longer appear on the list. E stands for Federal Supplement Education Opportunity Grant, or FSEOG. F stands for a Federal Pell Grant. G stands for any grant, scholarship, but not Pell Grant. F is or Federal Supply Education Opportunity Grant. R stands for a grant not needed based. K stands for Federal Perkins Loan. N stands for a non-needed base loan. L stands for other needed base loan, not Perkins or direct. S stands for subsidized loan, sub or needed base. T stands for Teacher Education Assistant College Higher Education Grant, or Teach Grant. U stands for unsubsidized loan, unsub non-need base. D stands for unsubsidized loan, unsub no need base. P stands for Federal Parent Loan of Undergraduate Students, or PLUS. O stands for Outside Resources. V stands for America Corps. W stands for Federal Work Study, and Y stands for Other Work Study. Do not remove your unpacked. Do not remove if unpacked. Select the checkbox if you want to award the fund code to remain unmodified with the student record during the unpackaged code. If you activate the feature of the repackage of your student funds, it may be awarded a second time. Criteria the use of the field to select the query to determine the group of the student eligible to receive the fund, beginning with the balance of field present with the beginning balance in your school account for the upcoming year. Adjusting the beginning of the balance of field represents the adjusting number, the plus or minus to be made in the fund. Funds awarded the field that reflects the current amount of award that be eligible. Financial applications, current balance. The field represents the current outstanding funding balance remaining on for your school to be awarded. Once your current balance reaches 0, you may no longer award. You're no longer awarded for this fund to the student unless you enter the positive amount on the adjustment of the being balance field. The remaining net rec needed. Click the button at the established minimum and maximum need amounts for the funds. Select the following section. Additional information. Click OK. Click Yes to save. Import news. Make sure the aid of the type of the you selected matches are funded for the you can create. For example, the F stands for Federal Pell Grant. For the fund maintenance example, click A for fund maintenance dialog box. For this, and choose the related top fund maintenance selected. Set up fund maintenance setup examples. Entering remaining needed information. You can award the specific amount of the fund, different levels of remaining need within the packaging process. For example, if you have the school fund that you want to award different levels depending on the remaining need for the aid of the recipient, you can also do this feature with the remaining needs and optional packaging. For example, the fund school need-based scholarship aid type G, after awarding Stafford loans to the unsubbed, this is still at least $2,500 for the greater remaining need for the direct packaging to award $500. At least $2,000 of the $2,500 you award $300 if in between the $500 and $2,000 awarded with $150. The following types are excluded: Federal Pell Grant, F, O, Outside Resources, T, Teacher Education Assistant College and Higher Education, or Teach Grant via American Groups. You can set your remaining need amounts with all the funding for the funding maintenance setup with clicking the remaining need buttons. You can also set an adjustment with the remaining needs amounts to each for the fund awarded by the methodology, clicking the values between the remaining need column and the remaining need dialog box contains the following fields: minimum need, enter the minimum remaining need amount of the award of this fund; maximum need, the maximum remaining need amount of the award of this fund; award amount, the amount of this fund that you award with the base of the minimum maximum need range. Important note: Minimum and maximum need amounts from the one line should not overlap the minimum and maximum need amounts in any other line. For example, the first range is 0 to 500. The next range should start at 501 or higher. Alright, define award methodologies. You can establish methodologies determining how various funds with awarded to the specific population and status of students. You must choose whether we will enter the maximum percentage of the dollar amount for the award methodology example. Click Help the award methodology dialog box and choose the related topic of the award methodology setup example. The important notes for funds subsidized loans or unsubsidized loans, no need based. Unsubsidized loans, need based, or plus loans. Recommended that you leave with the N9s for a maximum EFC maximum amount. The system will calculate it according to the statutory guidelines. Since the federal Pell Grant is calculated award, you can include the Pell Grant in your award methodology. EDEXPRESS automatically awards the Pell Grant to eligible student for the Pell Grant is currently defining the fund maintenance. They use the criteria field to identify the group of the students who will be packed. Using the methodology, the criteria listed in the query. If you need a base award methodology, the EFC range, such as state grant, with the EFC range of the criteria, you can have too many of the ranges defined in one award methodology code still include the other code funds in this institution. You can define the packaging queries for each of the EFC range. Each of the EFC queries, the primary query criteria, was to an equal number of the awarded methodology to add the state grant to add each methodology by using the award administrate min and award maximum fields to contract the exact award amount to the EFC range. To define award methodology, select tool setup at the menu bar, choosing the packaging award methodology. If you first time an award with the award methodology, go to step 3 to add award methodology, click add. Or step 3, enter the confirming of the following values. The code of the 4 character for the user, define the user, and define the methodology. User modified the user ID. Person who last modified the award of methodology. Date of the award of methodology was the modified title. Description up to 50 characters of the award methodology should identify with the student, but will be packed up using the methodology priority. Field priorities of the methodology in relationship to the methodology during the packaging process. During the packaging process, the EDEXPRESS selects the highest priority methodology met by the student, considering the creating of the generic methodology, giving the lowest priority. In other words, the highest number to ensure that every student is packed regardless of the criteria used in other methodology. User percentage and user dollar amount. The options enable the percentage of the dollar amounts for the self-help gift aid. The maximum field, select the appropriate option. Self-help aid maximums field, the identify the maximum need to be helped for the self-aid during the packaging process. It can be a percentage or a specific dollar amount. Gift aid to the maximum. The identify the maximum need for the be met with a gift during the packaging process. It can be percentage of the specific dollar amount. Criteria the field determines methodology applied with the student record using the existing queries funding code. They represent the funding code associated with the award methodology to be used during the packaging process. Click the down arrow with the list of available fund codes. Funding priority, the field indicates the order with the fund will be awarded with the award methodology. Funds with priority 1 are awarded first. School minimum. The field indicates the minimum amount awarded of the fund within the awarded methodology, and school maximum field indicates the maximum amount awarded from the fund within the award methodology. Alright, minimum EFC, the field identifies the minimum EFC that allowed for the fund to be packaged when using the award methodology. Maximum EFC that identifies the maximum EFC allowed for the fund to be packaged when using the award methodology. A remaining need, click the value of the remaining need values, establish the fund maintenance setup of the established remaining of the need value. With the award methodology level, you can also modify the values established from the fund maintenance. Click OK to continue, click Yes to save. Or established budgets. The budget defines the cost attendance of the specified programs to the end of the academic year. An integral part of the packaging with your school begins with the assigning the budget of the application. In the packaging, you can create a customized budget to meet your school needs. You can create a single budget with the entire application population. Separate the budget for the subset with your students for budget example. Click Help Budget dialog box. Choose the related topics of the budget. Set up examples. Select tool setup with the menu bar. Choose the backing and the budgeting. If your first time by adding of the budget, step 3 below for the just click add and enter the confirming the following values. User modified the user ID of the person who last modified the budget. The date, the modified the date the budget was last modified. The budget code, the code of the 4 characters used to find and abbreviated with the information code assigned to each of the budget. The code appears on the student record priority. The field enables you to prioritize in order the EDEXPRESS search for the budget database and analyzing the budgets. The first budget in which the student meets the selection criteria is in the packaging student. The budget total of the field is the sum of the budget components of both amounts entered in the display only Pell and COA. The field for the calculated Pell awards only that can be modified with individual records. Multiple records with multiple entry title, the title, the description of the budget. The title can be up to 50 characters. Criteria of the field determines whether the budget is applied with a given student using the existing queries. Budget amounts. The field determines the amount of 6 budget components listed with the tuition fees and loans of the fees, rooms, board, books, supplies, transportation costs, miscellaneous. There can be left in blank. User-defined budget amounts. The student budget contains the other components entering the title amount here. Click OK and to continue. Click Yes to save. Important note: before packaging a budget must be assigned with each of the student records. Alright, defining SAP codes, or satisfactory academic progress. The EDEXPRESS enables you to track satisfactory academic progress for each of your students. The student academic progress values give the ability to develop and separate the code of different type with each of the progress for each of the sample as satisfactory progress, you found unsatisfactory progress. To prevent the records from being filled packaged in the students, you do not need the student satisfactory academic process criteria before by creating the student academic process codes containing the no packaging flag. You can add codes to the student records before packaging process. You can find the unlimited number of the student academic progress codes. For student academic progress values, click O Help in between the student academic progress values dialog box. Alright, to define student academic progress codes, the tool set up for the menu bar with the choosing and packaging student academic progress values and the following values for each of the student academic progress codes. The SAP code, the field is a 2-character alphanumeric identifier, new packaging flag. The option prevents the student from using with this code from being packaged. The student academic processing progress description of the field, the 50-character description of the code. Click OK and click Yes to save. Set up your user-defined formulas option. User-defined all allowed the calculated add data with the add, subtracting, multiplying, defining the 2 existing of the EDEXPRESS database. For example, the user-defined formulas. Click the L button in the lower portion of the user-defined formulas dialog box. Use the download scroll to use the user-defined formulas example. To set up the user-defined formulas, select tool. For the menu bar, choose the packaging user-defined formulas. Enter the confirming of the following values on each of the formula field if you want to add your database. Table of settings determines the value of the field 1 resides in S for the field of the student table, the student database, F for the field of the funding table, the maintenance database, U for the field of the user-defined table or the user-defined database field name. The field list of the fields are available for the taken chosen with the database table with 1 field and an operation of the mathematical operation available, addition, subtraction, multiple division table. The setting determines the value using the field table 2 resides and enters S for the student table to F for the funding table, U for the user-defined table. Field name, the list of the fields are available with the table chosen with the database is table 2 field. The description of the info displays the name of the field described with the result of your formula. 3, click OK, click Yes to save. Important note: the calculated result of the previous created with the user-defined formula can be used in the new formula field in the S student database and the other user-defined formulas. Set up the user-defined formulas before importing records for the packaging database. You can create user-defined formula to importing records for the packaging. After importing the records, you can create a new formula. Then select the process calculate user-defined formulas from the menu bar to apply the new formula to the records. Alright, creating packaging records.